Hey everyone, Corrie here coming in to do my monthly channel messages, trying to get them all out. This one's going to be for Sagittarius. Please remember this does not replace any medical, psychological advice that you've been given. This is to be taken as entertainment only. Always use your own free will, always. And that if it doesn't resonate with you this month, then it's not for you. Even though it's, even though it's in your sign, it doesn't mean that it's all aspects of who and what you are. You can go to your astrological charts, your natal charts, your birth charts. I am reading through the energy. So this is the energy for Sagittarius, and I feel very like, I don't know what I feel. I don't know what I feel. I know what I'm getting. I know the energy. I feel as if the writing is on the wall is what I keep getting for Sagittarius. The writing is on the wall. There is some sort of like sense of endings that has not taken place. Ooh. I'm letting the cards kind of speak for themselves. Self-explanatory. I just keep getting self-explanatory. This is being recorded on May the 9th. There is a lot of frustration in the energy right now, a lot of not true feelings. You may be feeling the past right now. You may be feeling like you're being neglected in some way, but you also are picking up this. I'm also picking up the soul self, the essence of our soul's journey and where our soul is taking us and where we think we need to go. And there's so much to be learned and discovered in this lifetime. There's so much. And I always chuckle now at this point in my life and in this game of life. And I say, it's like, oh, I would get this ego trip of, oh, yeah, now I got it all figured out. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I know what I have to do. Yeah, this is my life and I have to take this journey and this is where I'm going to go. And I would then kind of really like be the narrator of that story. And then I would lead that story into creation. And I would say, that is my life and that's the way it's going to be. And I know it. That's my passion. That's my call. And it becomes satisfying. And it is satisfying, but it is still led by that self instead of allowing self to be guided by soul. And there is where the big difference comes in. When the soul guides, there's no need for you to be interfering in what shall take place. The action is what we do to be prepared to be the person that we need to be. And so to be the person that we need to be for our future means we do all the prep work and we show up where we need to show up. Answering a call is in areas where you never thought you would be. So often it is that whole desire, and it's coming up big in Sagittarius this month. And so an example, I'm being told to give an example. So an example would be, I love mediumship. I love to be on stage. I love to do live mediumship. I love to be in there all the time. But the direction of a lot of my work is actually being led in inspirational, transformational coaching and healing. And I love that fun. I love the aspect of the unknown, of never knowing what's coming in my work. But in the meantime, everything that I love to do, everything that I absolutely love with all of my heart is not really the direction where a lot of my life has been going, which is very odd because everything in me wants to pull back and go to the direction that's easy. Like that's easy for me. It would be an easy way for me to live my life is to just step back into and do all of that and only all of that. And I love it. But the call for some reason I'm going kicking and screaming in the direction of the unknown. And so it's the same thing that's coming up for Sagittarius energy is what we often think, what is the icing on the cake, right? The cake that looks all pretty decorated. It's like, oh, this would be so, that would be the easy way. But it's not always the easy way. It is the way that leads to what the soul's destined desire is for our soul purpose, that divine destiny that actually brings such fulfillment that there's no time to look back at the poor me, the victim mentality, the victim story. There's no space for that. None. You're just being of service wherever it needs to be. And for Sagittarius energy, that's really coming up this month, is that May is more about the soul's call and the soul's journey rather than grass on me, hay on me, and rather than being that of what my heart call is. Like, it's like that sense of this would be so simple. And so, yeah, there is a path of the unknown. There's a path that you feel like, oh, well, going kicking and screaming. You want to turn around, or you want to go into the way that seems like this would be so joyous, so easy, but is that the everything? And that's where you're being called this month, is to really recognize, is it that path that you get that looks like it's so pretty, so beautiful? Or is it the path that you're thinking, this is going to take a lot of work. This is going to need a lot of fixing up. This is going to need a lot of clearing the path to make it that beautiful, or to make it. It's like buying a piece of land that's already cleared, that already has the beautiful house, or buying the piece of land that you can't even see where the house will even go because it's still nothing but shrubs and trees and thistles and everything else. But if you walk to the edge of it, and if you went to the very edge of the land and you look it over, the view is out of this world. But in order to have the view and the beautiful view, you have to clear the land. You have to clear the space. And then you have to envision and remember that the why to why you're doing it is for that beautiful scenery, for that view. And so it would be easier to take this and maybe not have that beautiful scenery, that beautiful view, that beautiful life, like that could be extraordinary. So you can have good, or you can go into have actual greatness. Do we settle for good, or do we go for great? Right. And so, and that great is also in the aspects of how we feel within ourselves, how we feel in life, how we move forward in life. And so that's the big message for Sagittarius this month, is really recognizing that, is that, it may not be cleared, and you may have done tons of work. You may have cleared lots of land before, but there's something that is being in the call, and every one of the cards are in reverse. And I'm using the Crow Tarot, which has an ending that has not yet come. So there's something that you're not letting go of. And I feel like it's that desire of a, like, who you think you should be, or how you think you're identifying yourself, or that sense of satisfaction of, I'm proving who I am. And every time we think we have to prove who we are, or that we're there, there's always something else comes with that. And then we also have the 10 of Pentacles, which is very interesting, that I have the 2 10s and both in reverse. And so because this way of being, or trying to control life, is keeping this from fully taking place. And we're like, oh, what? We don't want endings. Endings brings new beginnings. So when we end our narrative, our story with our mind's ability, or with our mind wanting a specific life, and we start to allow ourselves to be guided by the soul self, by being guided by, what? I don't even know how it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to look, but I know I'm going to have to clear those trees. I know I'm going to have to clear that land. But all I see is me looking out over that scenery. All I see is me looking out into that world, and what it feels like to breathe in peace. Yeah, that's the feeling, right? And that's what we're holding on to. And with this 10 of Pentacles in reverse, is that, in the upright, you'd be really truly looking in at that mind, body, soul connection, 3 lotuses, right? Like there'd be that mind, body, soul in alignment, happy, living that dream life, but it's not. And there's something of the hermit that's saying you have to go inward. It's also in reverse. That is, there is a call now that because you may be feeling like, oh, now it's my time to get out in the world because we've been in isolation. But no, the call to go inward is actually bigger now than ever before. So to get in, to do the work that needs to be done, is to acknowledge there is a spiritual growth, spiritual awakening, a new level of spiritual awakening, or some sort of shift and change that is happening that is changing the projection of the life that you thought you were going to live, or that you thought you wanted, and it's coming in. And so there is some, like, the spiritual advice of the soul is to have faith and trust me. And when you're being told that, what you think you want it is not really the life, it's like you start to think, what the hell, why? And it's not that it's not all that, it doesn't mean it's not blended with that, or that it's not going to be a part of it, but there's something more. And when that something more of the soul's call keeps calling, you'll only be temporarily satisfied, and you'll always be seeking for something more on a constant, continual basis. It just is. It just does. And so bringing that awareness in. So there's 2 endings, right? There's the one of believing that your life will only be content or be the way that you want if you follow that mind story that you have right now. And then the other one is, sometimes you got to shine a light in the dark in the areas and not know exactly where you're going or what you're supposed to do, because you just can't make this shit up. We have another 10. And this 10 is the happy endings. And this happy endings, there's like the pear in the nest and the pear on the tree, when everyone is living their truth, their divine happiness, when all is in alignment and there's the transformation, and you look into each other, you look into that sense of partnership and happiness. You look into that sense of looking into your soul, and you find that sense of peace and contentment. There's a beautiful yellow bird. There's the yellow bird up on the back. And in one of these cards, there is the yellow bird who's on the back of the white horse. So that knight in shining armor, that white horse, which is that white horse syndrome that people get of believing that they have to come in to, make the world a better place, or make, my work will make the world a better place. I'll make better people, blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. If I do this, and everyone in the world's going to benefit from me. Right? That's the narrative to tell the self the stories to make self feel good. But on the back of that horse is a yellow bird, and it is the yellow canary on the back of the bird where the attention is, and that is being guided by the light. And when we're guided by the light, which the hermit says, instead of by the narratives of fulfillment, we start to then be able to discover a sense of a happy ending. And so our happy endings will be able to, at the end of each and every day when you go to bed, you're at peace. There's just that sense of satisfaction in knowing who we are. And we have the Queen of Pentacles, who's in reverse. So there is some attitude showing up, wanting to be the queen, the king. You ever look at the narrative, the story of the archetype of a little girl being called a princess, and having that whole, she's mommy's little princess, she's daddy's little princess, she's everybody's princess. She's my princess. That's why I give her everything. Well, when princess goes out into the world and she starts to meet people and friends, well, princess then has an expectation that everyone is supposed to treat her as if she's the princess, or the world that she's entitled to, that the negative energy of a princess. So then it has assumptions, assuming, or if she never was the princess and she's determined she's going to be the princess, then she's going to want that. So take away the narrative of a princess and put a beautiful, worthy person who just deserves good, or that you don't have to compete with trying to be a princess. And so then they turn into, that can turn into the negative entity, the negative attachments and aspects of the queen energy, whereas the healthy queen is just strong confidence, leadership, doing what needs to be done, caring for what needs to be cared for, and caring for all things and all people. And so that Queen of Pentacles is in reverse. So something of the material world was not in alignment or not fully in alignment. There is endings here, and we have 3 10s, which is also a 3, which is right. So we have the mind, body, soul connection that's coming in, and then we also have the 9, which is the Hermit, which is also 3 3 3. So we have the power of the 3, and I always say, if I can be anyone, my inspiration is to be anything I'd walk this earth as the essence of my only inspiration that I know to be true for me is that in the aspect of Jesus energy, or that of a Jesus energy, is to be that divine human being with a knowing that we're human, but also to do what is right for the right reasons. And sometimes just walking away. Could have chose the easy way. He could have chose the easy way, could have chose to do what he was good at, creative, could have chose that way. And that could have been his way, but that wasn't the way. And so sometimes we have to just trust the call. And so that new beginnings can come in, and happy endings. And that's a huge, huge message today. Huge message, because we also have the 5. We have what is this 5? That's interesting. We have a 5. And I'm like, that's interesting. What is it a 5 of, though? 5 of Cups. Maybe. I think a 5 of Cups. Interesting. And so I can't see this card for some reason. When I'm looking at this card, all I'm seeing is the green. And I just keep seeing the green. And I'm like, and it's time for that level of, like, when we've been deprived and parched, depleting ourselves of true light, or feeling like we're being guided by the light, but ego is so involved. We don't realize that is us being at war and challenged and battling ourselves constantly, because we're being led by emotions, being led by faith, and being led by that beautiful golden light, and by the light that guides us through, is that little light of our own that's within us will guide us through. Yeah. And so behind it, there's the beautiful blue. And with that then coming in, I feel like we have the Divine Mother coming in. We have divine energy. So this message is this is a very big message. It's a very distinctive message. It's a message of not being so caught, or so caught up in trying to be something in the world, but still taking actions to being the best versions of ourselves, and remembering what's on the other end of the why, to what we want our world, what we want to look out into, what we want to look back on, how we want to reflect back, how we want to see our lives, how we want to be able to sit with contentment and peace in the future. And what are we inspired by, and what is inspiring that essence of self, and allowing the divine and the connection to soul, and being guided by the soul, and let the soul guide through. That's the huge message of this month. I know it's probably sounds very out there, but if you sit and listen to this through 2 or 3 times in your heart, you're going to feel something that you may not know by just listening the first time. Because the first time you're going to be judging it and trying to figure out where it belongs in your life. The second time, close your eyes, listen to it with your eyes closed, and feel the love. Because it is the love of the divine that's trying to come in through this session for you, through this reading for you. And so you are divinely loved, and allowing the divine guidance, the divine light to guide through, to sit back a little bit, be silent, and just breathe through. Much love. Have a beautiful month, and I will see you in June. Bye-bye.